On this show on every Mondays at noon, so I invite you to please tune in as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. Got a great show planned for you today. In studio, I got co-host Robert Paredes with Fifth Third Bank. Robert, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Jamie. How are you this morning?
Doing great. Also have Stella Giudicelli, a regular contributor to the radio show. How are you doing, Stella?
Hello, everyone. I'm doing great. Thank you.
And also in studio on the second half of the show, I have my guest, Sal Ruggiero with the City of Tampa. He's in studio with us today as well.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Sal, for coming in. And the first guest, Rebecca Clower, she's a call-in. We'll be going to her here in just a moment here on the first half of the show. But before we talk to Rebecca, Robert, how was your weekend?
Not long enough, Jamie. How about you? But the good news is that rates are actually down from last week. So looking forward to a very profitable week for everybody this week.
Interesting. And now you're a loan officer with Fifth Third Bank and also a regular contributor to, the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show. Are they down significantly or what?
No, about anywhere from an eighth to a quarter. So it's still a big difference, I think, especially if it's, the loan amount's pretty substantial. It makes a big difference.
That's excellent news. I've been, preaching for, since the beginning of the show. Now is a great time to buy, due in large part to the low interest rates that are out there on the market, historical low rates, and they only have nowhere to go but up. So, and values are down, considerably from their highs in 2006, and people that are sitting on the sidelines waiting to see if they need to get into the real estate market, they're missing a golden opportunity right now.
The time is now, my friend. The time is now.
Absolutely, absolutely. I want to go ahead and go to our first guest, Rebecca Clower. She is the broker-owner of Blue Water Properties of Costa Rica. She is also a licensed Florida realtor and vice president for the Costa Rica Global Association of Realtors. She is also a certified international property specialist and international investor and resident of Costa Rica. She worked as a successful real estate agent with RE/MAX in Costa Rica before starting her own real estate and travel tour agency. She was the featured realtor on several episodes of HGTV Canada's new show called Live Here, Buy This, and HGTV USA House Hunters International. Rebecca has also been nominated as one of the top 100 realtors in Costa Rica by the VIP members of WeLoveCostaRica.com and is a contributing writer for the site too as well. Rebecca, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Jamie. Thanks for having me.
Rebecca, I'm very interested in learning more about real estate overseas and how it compares to real estate practices here in Florida. Now, you've actually began your career in real estate here in the States before relocating to Costa Rica. Tell me a little bit more about your time you spent as a real estate professional here in Florida and the success you had in that, and also why you decided to relocate from our beautiful state to Costa Rica.
For sure. Well, I started working I moved to Florida actually in May of 2000 and started working in real estate about 2 years after that, and got into the renovation and rehabbing, wholesaling type of thing over there, and basically worked for an independent with actually a co-worker of yours, Christina. I knew her as Christina Courier, but Christina Griffin.
Right.
We worked together there for quite a few years and basically started out doing the renovations over the course of about 5 years. I would say we did about 40 homes.
Now, you were doing this in the early 2000s when that was a very profitable and explosive industry.
Exactly. Obviously, times changed. So, yeah, basically in about 2002 is when we started renovating homes and did that for several years. I got my license in 2003 and started hopping over to the residential side because obviously there was a need after you renovated a home that you had to sell it to a retail buyer. So that's basically how I got going in Tampa. And we did very much focus in the areas of Seminole Heights and Tampa Heights when those areas were up and coming. So basically between 2002 to 2006, which is when I came over to Costa Rica.
You came over to Costa Rica in 2006?
You got it.
Gotcha. And you
right at the end of 2006, actually. So my timing was pretty good.
Yeah, you left here right as the market was really taking a downturn. That was what I always say. The peak of the market in Tampa Bay was 2006, and we've lost about 50% of the value from that time. Although we've recovered about 20% of it in the last couple of years. Now, you're not originally from Florida. Where were you from originally?
Well, I was born in Chicago, but I grew up in Buffalo, New York. So obviously I needed to get out of cold places. So I moved from, I went to college in Arizona, graduated from Arizona State, and then moved out to Tampa in 2000.
Interesting.
And,
I myself from West Virginia, and I, just like you, did not like the cold weather climate. And when I was 18, I said, I'm out of here, and I picked a warm weather state for just that reason alone.
Exactly.
Now, how often do you return to Florida? Do you still practice real estate in Florida at all? Do you send referrals this way or what?
Yeah, I come back to Florida at least once a year. I still have family and friends in the Tampa area in Temple Terrace, and my parents live in Fort Lauderdale. So I come back and see everybody, of course. And in regards to selling real estate, I honestly I'm not too involved other than occasional referral because when I left Florida, I decided to really focus my efforts 110% on Costa Rica real estate.
Interesting. Now, Rebecca, I myself have never been to Costa Rica, as I'm sure many of our listeners have not as well. Now, I'm sure you're going to tell us, about why we should be investing in Costa Rica. So let's begin with just some general information, as I really don't know much about, this area. First of all, what are the requirements for Americans to travel into and out of Costa Rica?
It's actually pretty easy. You don't need a visa, just a valid passport. You just need to make sure that you have at least 6 months left on your passport before it expires to enter the country and not have issues. But other than that, there's no other special requirements.
Okay. And where exactly is Costa Rica located? I know I was thinking that this was an island, and you corrected me, but it's in down in in South America region, right? So fill me in.
No, but it's funny because so many people say, "Hey, how's life on the island?" And I kind of joke and say, "Well, if I lived on an island, I'd tell you." But the same kind of thing applies here. It is very much like island time. But we're located in Central America between Nicaragua and Panama, and Costa Rica is actually a really great place. We have really stable government, democracy. We have no army, and so it's a great place to live.
Interesting. Yeah, no, so I learned something every day. I was thinking that was one of the Caribbean islands, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because it's the Rica and Puerto Rico. Maybe I was just associating
People get that confused all the time, all the time.
Thanks for making me not feel so dumb, So there's other people out there, with that misconception as well. So what is the local currency? Is U.S. dollars traded there, or is there a separate form of currency that's used there?
Yeah, the local currency is called the colon, or colones, plural, actually named after Christopher Columbus. But U.S. dollars are widely accepted here, and in fact, real estate is almost always quoted and sold in U.S. dollars. Mm-hmm. It's just the reason being is because the U.S. dollar is more stable than the local currency.
And how prominent is the English language in the country?
Rather prominent in the beach areas that I service and the areas where there's lots of expats, including around the capital of the country, which is San Jose. There are also many people, I think you're wondering about if people can get by also without actually speaking Spanish, and a lot of people do. But I do like to mention that as someone who speaks Spanish fluently, that I always try to encourage my clients to at least try and learn some basic Spanish because it'll make your life a little easier. Although body language does go a long way here. So.
Gotcha. Now, did you learn Spanish before relocating, or have you always been a Spanish speaker?
I've always been a Spanish speaker because my mom is from Costa Rica. Oh. Shocking. So, and my dad's from Chicago, but I grew up speaking Spanish. My mom was a stay-at-home mom at the beginning and always spoke Spanish to me, and I thank God for it now, but I never thought in a million years that I would be down here and selling real estate and doing what I do. So I really do appreciate that she spoke to me in Spanish now.
It's a great skill to have. It's something I wish that I had, working in the business that I do. But no, I've never. I took 2 years of it in high school, and I've had a Spanish girlfriend that I dated for 12 years, and I still can't speak Spanish. So
it's hard if you don't practice it every day. And even here, 95% of my clients are English speaking. So I always make an effort of speaking Spanish with my coworkers and everybody in the office, because otherwise, you'll get through the whole day and realize you really didn't speak much Spanish at all. So I do make an effort when I'm in the office for sure.
Now, obviously, the Caribbean weather is great, but how often do you see rain, and what's the coldest that Costa Rica gets?
In our province, which is called Guanacaste, we have a dry season from December to April and a rainy season from May to November. Okay. And the rainy season is very much like Florida in the summer. That's what I try to tell people. So you have blue skies in the morning, which gives way to rain in the afternoon for a few hours. And our rainiest months are September and October, which are also the slowest months here for tourism, but it's also less expensive. There's less tourists around, which is a plus for some people. But in terms of the temperature, it really doesn't waver, maybe 5 or 10 degrees year-round. We're pretty much in the, mid to upper 80s, low 90s during the day, and low 70s at night. We don't really need heat here, obviously, for that reason, so it's pretty predictable.
Hi, Rebecca. This is Robert Paredes with Fifth Third Bank. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Robert?
I'm well, thank you. On a financing perspective, maybe you can share with us a little bit some of the different financing options. I don't know if it's all cash mostly that you handle on your clients. Is there some type of special financing that they can get in the United States? How does that typically work?
Before the crisis, Robert, we had more options than we do today. Unfortunately, after the crisis, the banks really tightened up here and didn't really, unless you're a resident, it's rather impossible to get financing here. So most of my transactions are cash-based. I do have a few transactions that I did this year involving IRAs, so you can purchase in an IRA over here. And I've also heard that Scotiabank is coming out with a product for Canadian clients, because we have a lot of Canadian clients that come down to Costa Rica to buy. So I'm cautiously optimistic and waiting to hear what that program is. And if Fifth Third Bank has something, that would be super, because that's the one thing that we do lack here. There's also developers that offer developer financing, private in-house, usually with around anywhere from 20 to 50% down, depending on what it is. And there's also opportunities for private owner financing as well. Now, of course, that's going to lessen the options for a buyer, but at least it is an option.
Now, Rebecca, that's some great information. I'm going to take a quick break here to hear from my sponsors, but I want to understand, coming back from the break, a little bit more about real estate customs and practices. So if you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 WINS, WHNZ. Back in a moment.
Thinking about buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there is an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
Since opening its doors 120 years ago, Stewart Title Company has established a lasting legacy of providing professional title services. Even other title insurance companies know Stewart Title Company because they do their actual underwriting for them. Stewart is here to provide a wide range of resources to help improve any real estate transaction. To learn more about protecting yourself against hidden title hazards that may threaten your financial investment, call Melissa Stoddard at 813-431-8025. That's 813-431-8025. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage want you to experience the thrill of one-day underwriting and the comfort in knowing your loans will be clear to close in record time. While the competition looks to a lost closing date, Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage focus on their 12-day clear to close. They do this by utilizing their world-class operations staff to underwrite your loan within 6 hours, process your loan in 12 days, and have your loan closed in time. Underwritten in 6 hours, cleared to close in 12 days. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage. At Fifth Third Bank, a wide variety of choices is available so you can find the mortgage loan that meets your financial needs. Factor in competitive rates, flexible terms and conditions, and fast closings. And these are some of the best solutions around. Whether you just ended a residency or are a longtime physician, the right fit for you can be found at Fifth Third Bank. For a no-obligation, free credit analysis, call Robert Paredes today at 813-300-7218. 813-300-7218. You're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Meloni. Now, here's Jamie.
Hi again, everybody, and thanks for staying tuned in to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 WINS, WHNZ. We've been talking with Rebecca Clower. She's the broker-owner of Blue Water Properties in Costa Rica, and I want to continue the conversation with her right now. Rebecca, take me through the price points for entry-level real estate up, to how beachfront property works in Costa Rica.
Yeah, sure thing. I mean, we basically have all sorts of different properties. I sell lots, homes, condos. I even sell farms. But generally speaking, lots start around $30,000 and go all the way up to $500,000 plus, just depending on the size of the parcel and the views. We also have homes, generally speaking, starting around $170,000. Again, up to multi-million-dollar homes, depending on what you're looking for. That would be ocean view and oceanfront. And also condos. We sell a lot of condos as well. We have condos that start basically in the, generally speaking, in the low 100 range, all the way up to, $1 million plus. Again, these can be penthouses, oceanfront. So it's kind of a wide range, but basically showing that there is something for everybody here.
Now, is property titled in Costa Rica the way it is here in the States? And are there any prominent differences in ownership rights versus how it is here in the States?
Generally speaking, yes, it's the same. Most of the properties here in Costa Rica are fee simple, fully titled. The difference is oceanfront property. 95% of the oceanfront property, what we call the zona maritimo, it's the maritime zone, is concession, which I try to easily explain it as kind of like a land lease from the government. So you have to renew it in 20-year increments. And if you're not, you can't own it 100% by yourself. You have to have a Costa Rican citizen on title with you, but usually you get around that with your attorney.
Okay, so all beachfront property in Costa Rica is owned by the government, then you're saying?
Not all of it. 95%. There's actually, in our area, we have quite a few that are fully titled. If you got, basically what it is if you had it titled before in the 1970s, there was a time to kind of get grandfathered in. Some people take advantage of that. So that's why 5% of the country, more so in our area, you'll find fully titled oceanfront property.
Do you get any pushback from the citizens with that, or is that pretty accepted, amongst the residents of Costa Rica?
No, it's pretty accepted because, again, it's the same for everybody. And anybody that buys here from the U.S., Canada, or beyond has the same ownership rights as any Costa Rican citizen. So that's obviously a plus, and it makes it safe purchasing here.
Now, what are the licensing requirements for sales professionals such as yourself in Costa Rica?
Believe it or not, there is no mandatory licensing. I'm the vice president of the Costa Rica Global Association of Realtors. We call CRGAR. And our association is really pushing for professional licensing, and we're getting there. Right now we offer voluntary licenses, and with the voluntary licenses you're required to take several courses in regards to real estate law, condominium law, etc. So we really are pushing for that. And right now there's 2 professional organizations in Costa Rica. So, hopefully here in the future we'll be able to say that we do have professional licensing. I keep my license in Florida, even though I don't practice there that often, obviously, because it does give me credibility here in an area that doesn't have mandatory licensing. It really does mean a lot to my buyers coming from abroad.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you're dealing with people with, many of which are making, their most, biggest decision, biggest investment in their careers. And I even say in Florida, I mean, the licensing requirements, I think, are subpar, and in Costa Rica, where you don't even have any licensing requirements. I mean, that's a scary thing if I'm a consumer in Costa Rica looking to purchase real estate. So, I mean, obviously, if you have a license, in the States, that's something that gives you, head up on a lot of the people that are probably practicing in Costa Rica. Do you have a lot of people practicing, real estate down there, or is it not common?
Well, there's a lot of people that practice real estate, and how many of those people take it seriously is a whole other ball of wax. But I think that people that truly call themselves professionals, it's an exclusive bunch. There really are not that many. Those that are good are good, and we really, like I said before, trying to push for professional licensing. On the other hand, we do bring opportunities for realtors in the country to be able to get licensing in terms of, for example, the Certified International Property Specialist designation. We actually had bought the class here and the instructor here, and CRGAR has an affiliation with NAR, with the National Association of Realtors. So, again, there are professional affiliations here. It's just that the licensing is still not something that is truly mandatory, but we're getting there.
How do property taxes work in Costa Rica? Are they similar to what we have here in the States, where you have annual property taxes?
But yeah, we basically pay once a year. Property taxes here are very, very low. They're basically 1/4% of the registered value. So, for example, if you buy a house for $300,000, then your taxes will most likely be $750 per year or less, depending on what the registered value is. So that kind of gives you an idea. We also have another tax, but it's more for the luxury segment. That's another tax that honestly doesn't really apply to the majority of my buyers, but you can always bet at least 1/4% of the registered value.
Now, Rebecca, now that we got a background on yourself and Costa Rican real estate and practices and customs, let's talk a little bit more about some opportunities for people in the States to invest in real estate and how you can help them. Tell me a little bit more about your real estate company and the areas that you specialize in.
Sure thing. Well, Blue Water Properties of Costa Rica has 4 offices. We're located in Guanacaste, which is the northwest region of Costa Rica, and our closest airport is the Liberia International Airport, which is just under an hour away. Our beach areas, we basically cover about an hour of coastline from Hacienda Pinilla, Tamarindo area, north, Playa Grande, Flamingo, Potrero, Danta, Dantita, all the way up to Coco and Hermosa. So we cover quite a wide range of coastal properties.
And I take it you have many listings, and you also handle buyer representation as well?
That's correct. Yeah, we have a couple MLS-type systems. We don't have one general MLS that everybody's on. There's a couple different ones that we use. So on our website, you're able to see many great listings, and we cooperate with all other brokers in the area to be able to bring the best product to our client.
Now, I see you also have a Costa Rican tour company. Tell me a little bit more about that.
We do. Well, when the company started, we had clients asking us, well, you sold me a house, you sold me a condo, who's going to manage it? Can you manage it? And so I thought, well, how hard can it be? So we started managing properties. We started with 2. And obviously, as time has gone by, we have about 50 now in 5 different beach areas, and our business partner that runs the office in Playa Negra has about a dozen. So we have a lot of beachfront, ocean view condos and homes, and about 5 or 6 different beach areas. That's how that started. And so with the tour company, the need comes out of the property management side, where clients coming, they're now renting your house. Well, they need airport transfers. They want to go see the volcano. They want to go do a zip line. They want to go see a waterfall. Well, all those things are kind of, one-stop shop. And the necessity for the travel agency grew out of the property management side. So we basically, handle 3 different types of businesses in one place, which really helps out the client. It just takes all the guesswork out of it.
Rebecca, this is Stella Giudicelli from Coldwell Banker. I'm curious about what is the average or maybe the best return on investment that investor can expect when investing with you in Costa Rica?
You mean in terms of return on investment percentages?
Yeah,
Yeah.
with a tenant, putting a tenant in there and.
Yeah, I mean the best property to honestly buy is either a house or a condo near the beach, and that's going to be the key point. Is any property you ever want to buy, the closer to the beach, and specifically if you can buy a property within, let's say, 200 to 400 meters from the beach, that's where you're going to have your best return on investment. Of course, if you have an ocean view, those properties tend to not only be easier to rent out, but you can also fetch more money for them on the resale side. So all of those things are important aspects. With our 50 houses over the course of the last 8 years, we've been able to have a lot of good data, and basically what we see that does the best are homes with ocean view or that within a couple hundred yards of the beach, condominiums that are within, again, a couple hundred yards of the beach, and also specifically within a resort community, which we have a few different golf and resort communities that have condos within them and homes within them. And those, generally speaking, do very well, also on the rental and resale side.
Now, Rebecca, I got to wrap up the interview here as we're coming to the bottom of the hour. But in closing, tell me a little bit more about why we should be buying Costa Rican real estate, and give out the contact information for the audience so they could get in touch with you if they have any Costa Rican demands for real estate.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, basically what I tell people is that Costa Rica is a really magical place. It has beautiful weather, great people. It's a stable area to buy. Your investment is safe here. You're going to buy something and know that it's still going to be there when you come back. And you have trusted individuals on this side that can take care of everything for you and taking all the guesswork out of it. But if you're looking for good return on investment in a place where you can come and enjoy your investment and stay in your condo or your home a few weeks or months out of the year and rent it out the rest of the time for positive cash flow, and then you definitely should be looking into Costa Rica. The logistics of getting here, especially from Florida.
And Rebecca, real quick before we get cut off here, what's your phone number?
Sure, it's 1-866-670-0258, or my local Tampa number 813-579-3350.
Rebecca, thank you very much for coming on the show. It was a great interview. Stay tuned. We'll be back in a moment.
Looking for high-quality supplements at affordable prices? Visit Gulf Coast Nutrition, located in Palm Harbor at the corner of Alternate 19 and Alderman Road, in the Publix Shopping Plaza. You'll find all your favorite brands, like Renew Life, Doctor's Best, Blue Bonnet, and many, many more. You'll also find nutritional lab testing and many physician brand supplements, such as Metagenics, as well as your favorite sports nutrition supplements, all at competitive prices. At Gulf Coast Nutrition, you get personalized service from a knowledgeable staff. Be sure to sign up for the free rewards program, available in-store at the corner of Alternate 19 and Alderman, or online at GulfCoastNutrition.com. Call 727-754-2900. Ready for a healthier you? Listen to Gulf Coast Nutrition with Dr. V and Brenda B to find out what supplements may be right for you. Gulf Coast Nutrition with Dr. V and Brenda B every Wednesday from 11:30 until noon on 1250 WINS WHNZ.
Have you ever wondered how you could make a difference in someone's life? What if you could help hundreds or even thousands of children? Students in the U.S. rank 32nd in world math skills. It's time for our children to catch up. Become an owner of one of the world's fastest growing franchises, Mathnasium. Mathnasium is the leading math-only learning center in the U.S. Imagine helping hundreds, even thousands of students in your community improve in school and raise their self-esteem. Call us at 800-676-5216. 800-676-5216. Uh-oh,
your power just went out. What do you do? Do you look for flashlights and hope they have good batteries? Or light candles? Or hope your food doesn't go bad? Or you sweat with the heat? Well, if you have a Generac generator, you just wait a few seconds, and the automatic standby Generac generator from Generex keeps your lights, AC, and refrigerator going. Keep your comfort against the storms. Visit FixMyGen.com. Enjoy comfort with your Generac generator. FixMyGen.com.
Need AC? Call Simpson Air, the coolest guys in town. Log on to thecoolestguys.com.
This report is brought to you by Bill Curry Ford, Tampa's first family of Ford.
You better hurry, Bill Curry. Hurry to Curry Ford.
Bill Curry Ford is Tampa Bay's truck headquarters with over 100 F-150s in stock and ready to go. Drive a new F-150 right now from only $199 a month. So,
hurry to Curry Ford.
From the Bright House Network's Traffic Center, the interstates are in good shape at the time. We're checking clear along 275 throughout Pinellas and Hillsborough counties. There is an accident causing delays westbound along Bloomingdale Avenue, a little west of Kings Avenue at Watson Road, as well as slowdowns in Pinellas County northbound along US 19 with a crash at Innisbrook Drive. See traffic problems? Call the Injury Firm of Abrahamson and Uterwick Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line at 866-545-9595.
1250 winds, Weather Center forecast. Highs in the upper 80s near 90. A few low 90s possible as well inland. Brandon up to 88 at the moment. 83 in Tampa, Clearwater, Bradenton, Lakewood Ranch, 84 degrees. Mix of clouds and sun. We'll see lows in the lower 70s for tonight. Then a 20% chance of rain throughout the day. We'll see that rain chance tomorrow. 90 temps all around, and then we'll see a cool down midweek. And by the end of the week, I expect to see temps in the lower 80s on Friday. Wall Street today, Dow is currently up 100. 16,683, NASDAQ gaining 62, S&P index positive by 15.
You're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Meloni. Now, here's Jamie.
Hi again, everybody, and thanks for staying tuned in to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Winds WH&Z. And again, you'll find this show on every Mondays at noon, so I invite you to please tune in as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. Off air, I invite you over to my website, tampabayradio.com. Again, tampabayradio.com. And I'm a realtor with Coldwell Banker, so you'll see a lot of great deals on the website, as well as past show information as well on the tampabayradio.com website. Also, to all the potential home sellers in the Tampa Bay real estate market, I offer a free home valuation. Just text the word value to 813-760-8516. Again, 813-760-8516. So I want to shift gears over to Stella Giudicelli. She's in studio with us today and a regular contributor to the show. Stella, how was your weekend?
My weekend was pretty good. I had the opportunity to wish Happy Mother's Day to all of my American moms. I have many of them. And I wish...
now, when you say American moms, you got to clarify for the audience, you're not originally from America, you're French.
I'm from France, right? Yes. And so next week I'll be wishing my French mom Happy Mother's Day. It's not the same day.
I'm sure many people picked up on the accent, but for those who were just a little bit
what
confused.
What accent are you talking about?
Now, tell me a little bit. Last week we talked about the Happy video that you produced for the city of Tampa. How is that going right now?
I am very excited. Today we have reached the threshold of 5,000 views, so I'd like to thank all of the people that are promoting the video, Tampa Bay Multimedia as well, and all of the people that I don't know. And the reason why I'm happy is really with spreading the goodness of happiness with the video. And what I'm finding is, believe it or not, a lot of people from Tampa and South Tampa don't know that we have beaches. I'm always careful how I say that word. Around South Tampa, we have 4 scenes that are on Picnic Island. So we do have, you know, beaches scenes here. And then I was talking to my mom today, and she said that people come back to her not believing on how Tampa is beautiful in France. People will know Miami in Florida. They don't know about Tampa, and they're just amazed how beautiful it is. They want to know where it is. They're thinking of coming. So it's actually a great way to promote Tampa to even South Tampa people or Tampa people, and then in the world.
Yeah, it was definitely a very well produced video. And again, you can find this on YouTube. You know, what's the easiest way to find this on YouTube?
Yes, you type Happy Tampa 2014.
Interesting. And you also received some recognition recently from the Children's Cancer Center. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I was at their appreciation dinner I'm always delighted to be there because I'm surrounded with relentless people that are committed to the mission of the Children Cancer Center. So, and that is the financial, emotional, and educational support to children with cancer and their families. So, I was sitting down with who we call the Yayas. And those, yes, the Yayas. So it's Patricia Labella, Barbara Hannon, and Joanne Gunn, who have been volunteers at the Children Cancer Center for more than 10 years. So I was having a great time with them when they called my name. So when that happens, what you do automatically, you get up, and I started walking towards the stage. And at one point, I was so surprised that they were giving me an award that I turned to my beautiful friend Cheryl Landon from Landon Plastic Surgery. They are one of the biggest contributor to the Children Cancer Center. And I turned to her and I was walking to the stage, and I said, they did call my name, right? Which she confirmed. So I was very relieved that she that I was being called and walking to the stage. But yeah, I was very touched because I really believe in what the Children Cancer Center does for, you know, kids going through to that.
Well, congratulations on that award and everything. So, also, you know, in studio we've got, you know, Robert Paredes. You know, Robert, you know, your regular contributor to the show. You wanted to touch on a point, you know, with Fifth Third Bank a little bit. You know, we're talking about mortgages up front. Differences between fixed rate and adjustable rate mortgages. What was that?
Yeah, you know, not just with Fifth Third Bank, but really wanted to just give a different perspective when it comes to financing. I know most folks out there have always been said you got to get a 30-year fix, you got to get a 30-year fix, and I'd say probably about 90 to 95% of the borrowers do get 30-year fix. But I want to challenge or you know, the borrowers out there a little bit to rethink about getting a 30-year fixed loan as opposed to maybe a 5-year or 7-year ARM. And the reason for that is, you know, especially first-time home buyers, Stella and you know, Jamie, you know as well as I do, typically 4 to 5 to 6 years, they're ready for an upgrade anyway. So my point to all that is, if they know that they are looking to, you know, to upgrade or maybe to downgrade in 5 to 10 years, why would you want to pay a higher rate on a 30-year fixed loan? Typically, those ARM rates, they're fixed for 5, 7, 10 years, are a good 1% lower, and so you don't have to pay as much. You know, the thing about it is that the banks want you to pay, you know, that interest rate for 30 years, and obviously the way to beat the bank is to get it paid sooner or pay a lower interest rate.
Yeah, very good point. You'll find Robert's information. He's a regular contributor to my show. Just visit TampaBayRadio.com, click on Expert Contributors, and reach out to Robert for all your mortgage needs and everything. So highly recommended, Robert Paredes with Fifth Third Bank. I want to go ahead and move over to my second guest here on this show, Sal Ruggiero with City of Tampa. You know, after retiring from the police department as major for the City of Tampa in 2011, Sal took up the position of operations manager for the City of Tampa Neighborhood Enhancement Division. The Neighborhood Enhancement Division enforces all non-criminal ordinances, codes, and regulations to improve the quality of life for Tampa residents through maintenance efforts of medians and vacant lots. Sal, thanks for stopping by today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Sal, tell me in the audience a little bit more about your background in law enforcement with the City of Tampa.
Yeah, I spent 30 years with the City of Tampa Police Department, worked myself up through the ranks, and I retired in 2011 at the rank of major. At that position, I ran all police operations for the west side of the city.
Now, the rank of major, that's directly under Jane Castor, the police chief of Tampa, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. And, you know, why did you retire from the police force in 2011?
It was time. I had entered the Deferred Retirement Option Program, which once you enter that program, you have a 5-year time limit, and the 5 years ended up, and I had to retire.
Interesting. Now, what do you miss most about working on the police force?
The excitement of chasing a bad guy. You know, that always gives you a good rush, right. and that's what I miss the most, and the friendships.
Yeah, I can imagine. You know, I mean, what you go through out there in the force and everything. You know, the friendships and the relationships that you establish. You know, from what you're involved in, definitely. You know, come into play.
Still keep contact though.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, I always say to officers of law, I highly commend you and thank you for your service. You know, to the city. You were very underpaid professionals within the city, and you know, I've always said if somebody wants me to be a police officer, $200,000 a year minimum. I'm not touching that position unless I'm getting $200,000 a year. So. I highly commend you for taking that role, and protecting the citizens of our great city and everything. Do you have any great achievements while working on the police force you wanted to elaborate on or discuss?
Probably the most thing that I'm proud of is that my folks that work for me were able to perform exemplarily, and they reduced crime for 3 years in a row while I was in command of that district.
Yeah, I will say, City of Tampa is a fairly safe city for a major city. There's nowhere in Tampa that I'm afraid to go. And doing what I do, I go in and out of vacant homes all the time in every type of neighborhood there is. And I really don't fear anywhere in City of Tampa. So, law enforcement must be doing something right.
Well, they're very good at using information technology to track crime. And once they see a pattern, they get right on it. You have to credit the chief, Jane Castor, and her assistant chief, John Bennett, who's actually the genius behind the program.
Yeah, I mean, it's very well done. I mean, I have no complaints at all about law enforcement here in the city of Tampa. So, Sal, now you're the operations manager for the City of Tampa's Neighborhood Enhancement Division. Tell the audience and myself more about this and your role in the division.
Yeah, well, I oversee the daily operations of code enforcement and what was Clean City. What we did was we merged those two divisions to make it more efficient so that we can get into the neighborhoods and really quickly respond to complaints and correct situations, in a timely manner. So the neighborhood enhancement comes from the merger of what was code enforcement and what was Clean City combined. We have the operation districts. We have the city broken down into 5 districts, and each district is self-sustaining, which is it's a combination of code officers and what was Clean City personnel.
Now, how have you impacted the division since entering as operations manager?
Well, I think the way I impact and the reason why the mayor brought me in is two reasons. Number one, to look at you sort of integrate information technology to make this unit perform better, and also with my police background to still be in contact with the police, because a lot of these issues go hand in hand. So that's probably my 2 main impacts right now.
Very good, very good. Sal, I've got to take a quick break here, but stay tuned. I got more here with Sal Ruggiero, City of Tampa Neighborhood Enhancement Operations Manager. And if you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Back in a moment.
At Fifth Third Bank, a wide variety of choices is available so you can find the mortgage loan that meets your financial needs. Factor in competitive rates, flexible terms and conditions, and fast closings. And these are some of the best solutions around. Whether you just ended a residency or are a longtime physician, the right fit for you can be found at Fifth Third Bank. For a no-obligation, free credit analysis, call Robert Paredes today at 813-300-7218. 813-300-7218. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage want you to experience the thrill of one-day underwriting and the comfort in knowing your loans will be clear to close in record time. While the competition looks to a lost closing date, Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage focus on their 12-day clear to close. They do this by utilizing their world-class operations staff to underwrite your loan within 6 hours, process your loan in 12 days, and have your loan closed in time. Underwritten in 6 hours, cleared to close in 12 days. Bud Spriggs and Movement Mortgage. Since opening its doors 120 years ago, Stewart Title Company has established a lasting legacy of providing professional title services. Even other title insurance companies know Stewart Title Company because they do their actual underwriting for them. Stewart is here to provide a wide range of resources to help improve any real estate transaction. To learn more about protecting yourself against hidden title hazards that may threaten your financial investment, call Melissa Stoddard at 813-431-8025. That's 813-431-8025.
Thinking about buying a home? Find out how the HUD Home Store can help you. Visit HUDHomestore.com. Look at HUD homes available for sale near you or nationwide. Why HUD Home Store? HUD will pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing cost. The price of the home is based on an FHA as-is appraisal, which is already completed, saving you an average of $400. And there is an owner-occupant priority bidding period during the first 30 days. Want to know more? Visit HUDHomestore.com.
You're listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show with local expert Jamie Meloni. Now, here's Jamie.
Hi, everybody, and thanks for staying tuned in to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. You'll find this show on every Mondays at noon, so please tune in as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. Here on the second half of the show, we've been talking with Sal Ruggiero with the City of Tampa Neighborhood Enhancement Division. So, Sal, I, for one, specialize in the sale of bank-owned properties and commonly have issue with city codes and violations, so much so that I've actually learned quite a bit about the city's habits and practices. For those who are not aware, I want to talk a little bit more about this. First off, what is the city's boundaries in Tampa and versus where county kicks in?
Yeah, to the west, it would be the Bay. Mm-hmm. To the east, out by the fair, just before the fairgrounds. Okay. South goes all the way to MacDill Air Force Base, and then the north would be just like if you're on the west side of the city, a few blocks north of Hillsborough. Okay. Then if you're up by Busch Gardens, then just north of Fowler.
Now, Bruceby Downs into New Tampa, that's all been annexed under the city.
That's into the city limits.
That's also city of Tampa.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, and I know because it gets confusing because I got to know where county is, city is, and I'm under different, ordinances and regulations and different utilities and stuff for these different areas and stuff. So I always like to, make people aware, where the boundaries are and when they're under a county regulation versus a city regulation. How many employees do you have under your management, and what's a typical day like for them out in the field?
Right now we have 78, and that's the combination of both. We have 37 code inspectors, and then the rest would be cleanup crews. Typical day, the 5 districts, they report to work at 8 o'clock. They meet with their supervisors. They're pretty much in tune on what areas they need to be in. So the code officers will go and sweep neighborhoods and look for violations. The cleanup crews, they have their set workloads. But then what's unique about this is that if there's a problem, like if a code officer is in the area and they see an area that might need to be cut or cleaned up, or there's graffiti or there's illegal dumping, we have the capabilities of right then and there to pick everything up.
Now, do most of the violations that come in, are they from, people complaining amongst the city, or is it a lot of times what the officers see themselves?
It's a combination of both. We respond to phone call complaints and then self-initiated complaints, by the officer.
Now, when you or your staff encounters a violation, what is the process to rectify? I mean, if it's something, immediate, do you, attend to the situation immediately, or do you just slap a lien on the property and then the owner has to, go through some steps to get this resolved? How does that all work?
It's just, to give you the example of a homeowner-occupied house that has accumulations out front, or in the yard or whatever, we would issue a civil notice, saying that, you are in violation of a code, give the code number, and that you have 21 days to, rectify the problem.
Right.
Now, usually with that, we get 85% compliance. Now, if we have to come back, we'll issue a ticket, $75 fine. Now, they can either pay that ticket, or if they can challenge it and take it in front of a magistrate.
Okay, so if they respond within that first, you said 21 days?
Yes.
There's no fine, they just clean it up, they're compliant.
They comply.
But if they keep going, then they're going to pay a $75 fine?
$75.
Yes, Sal. So I think this is actually pretty good, because my understanding is that in other counties, you don't have that 21-day truce. Like, if they find out you're in violation, they fine you immediately, and then it can even go further. Is that correct?
I think it's a good program, because it just shows that we're not just money driven. We're actually concerned about the appearance of neighborhoods.
Yeah, I would. I mean, in all fairness to City of Tampa, I deal with code enforcement in multiple counties and cities in the Tampa Bay region, and City of Tampa is probably one of the easiest and fairest to deal with. So yeah, I don't really have any complaints in dealing with City of Tampa, because I'm always on the representation side of these banks, and these properties sit vacant, and they obviously acquire violations, and the banks don't have really direct control over until they come to us, and then we have to work on the situation and everything. So what are some of the most common violations that you see in the City of Tampa? I mean, overgrowth, illegal dumping, inoperable vehicles. I mean, what are you seeing the most out there?
That's it. That's the majority of it. We have I would say the most of it is illegal dumping, especially on the east side of the city. Mm-hmm. It seems to be a dumping ground. Now, we've got a couple unique. We've partnered with the police and solid waste on this illegal dumping problem, and we've actually installed cameras, 5 cameras in the city.
Very good.
To try to catch some of this stuff in progress. In fact, uniquely, the camera will transmit right to the police dispatch so that they can see, what's going on and try to send a police unit out, to try to take the person into custody.
That's very good. I didn't know we had anything like that in the city.
We're just trying it out now, and we had some success with our code inspectors on patrol.
I have that issue.
Illegal dumpers.
I have that issue with a lot of my properties. Can I get you guys to come by a couple of my bank properties and set up some of those cameras for me? Anyway, so Sal, foreclosures obviously present a challenge for any neighborhood. The city of Tampa has in place, a vacant property registration requirement imposed upon, the banks primarily that it's geared towards, and with registering these properties when they go vacant. Now, the ordinance states that they have to be registered upon filing of the lis pendens, which is a challenge for the banks because one, it's not vacant at the lis pendens, and two, there's a lot of misinformation and miseducation out there. Tell the audience a little bit more about this ordinance, and does it also apply to non-bank owners as well if their properties go vacant?
On a vacant property,
yes, the registration requirements. Mm-hmm.
No, not if they just left the property and the bank hasn't taken it over. Mm-hmm. They're still the owner.
Okay, so if I own a property in the city of Tampa and it's in good working order, I don't have, and for whatever reason it goes vacant, I don't have to file a vacancy registration for that property. Correct?
No, only if the bank takes over.
Okay, some ordinances you do. So yeah, in city of Tampa, because like I was getting at, in the front of the question, when the lis pendens is filed, that's the notice of legal action that the bank is taking against the mortgagor. Then they have to register the property at that time, and most of the banks don't do that. They usually register them when they're assigned to an agent post foreclosure and everything. But I'm curious, do many of the banks follow this ordinance, and has it been worthwhile, and has it benefited the city having this database of registry properties?
It's working, and once they're registered on the foreclosure registry, the process, they have to give us a property manager, somebody that can take care of problems, and it's working. Mm-hmm. A couple of things that we're doing, if we do have a vacant property that our officers come upon, we actually have the capability now with some legal personnel to drill down and figure out on scene who is the best to cite, who should we go after the most.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get more proficient in that.
Yeah, Sal, just out of curiosity, what are you seeing any kind of a trend, whether or not foreclosures or violations are on the upswing or in the downswing? Or is it, because I know obviously in the last 3 or 4 years there's been quite a bit of REOs and a lot of properties going that way and foreclosed on, but what have you seen lately?
We're holding steady as far as foreclosures at about 6,300 registered foreclosures in the city, and I give you a snapshot. Like in 2013, out of just over 1,500 new foreclosure registries, probably about 8% of that number were cited with some sort of violation.
Okay. But have you seen that on an upswing year over year, or is it you said it leveled a little bit?
I think it's just
interesting.
The numbers holding steady.
Now, Sal, before we go off the air here and everything, give the audience your contact information if they're having any issues with any of their neighboring properties and how they can go about contacting the city to get their properties stabilized that are near theirs.
Yeah, they can go on the website and go to the Customer Service Complaint Center, and you can just file a complaint right there, and it'll
What's
get
the website?
Tampagov.net.
Tampagov.net, and there's
Yes.
a customer complaint line right there. So if they're next to a property that hasn't been mowed in months, they can
just send it in, and it'll get to us. Or if they want, they can call 274-5545, and that's our customer service answering center, and we'll get the call right then and there. But we're trying to get to these calls quickly and get the issue resolved quickly.
And if they file complaints online, are they able to remain anonymous, or do they have to give out their contact information?
No, they can remain anonymous.
Very good.
We'll take it.
Very good. Well, Sal, thank you very much for coming on the air and everything. Some great information here with the the City of Tampa neighborhood enhancement division and everything. So again, thank you very much for coming on the air. A couple minutes here left in the program. Stella, you had a couple things you wanted to mention here with regard to the award that you received, something we didn't touch on?
Yes, and Jamie, thank you so much for mentioning the award, because really the whole point of me receiving the Committee Member of the Year by the Children's Cancer Center is that I was only the messenger. And the stars here are really the people who financially contributed to Wine, Women and Shoes. So it happened last October. On a side note, we're going to have this October the same a similar event, high end with a fashion show. But really, who I would like to recognize are the families that are going through the journey with a child with cancer or have done that in the past. Those are the stars. It's also the real estate agents at Coldwell Banker South Tampa. They donated $5,000. Deborah Macmillan, our broker at the time, really initiated that. Coldwell Banker Cares, who, on a side note, donated $100,000 in Florida last year. And, with the participation of Christina Griffin, are really, again, those people that made it happen. We also had Orange Theory, Massage Envy, Sugar Red, Feldman Orthodontics, Tory Birch, Scott Gass, DJ Mencha, and all of those people are really those who allow me to contribute, and they are the people who only make the world go forward. So I really wanted to recognize those people. Those people are the ones who got the award.
Now, the event that was the Wine, Women and Shoes,
Yeah.
was this something that you put on, or is this something that the Cancer Center puts on every year?
Yeah, the Cancer Center put that on. They do that every year, and I'm a committee member.
You're a committee member
Yeah.
of that. Okay, very good. Well, Stella, you're definitely an influential and inspiring member of the city of Tampa. So, and
Thank you.
as well as the sales team at Coldwell Banker. So, thank you for everything that you do. So, if you're just tuning in, you've been listening to the Jamie Meloni Real Estate Show here on 1250 Wins WHNZ. You'll find this show on every Mondays at noon. So, please tune in as my show aims to become your information source for the Tampa Bay real estate market. On the first half of the show, we had Rebecca Clower, broker owner of Blue Water Properties of Costa Rica, on. And in the second half of the show, we were talking with Sal Ruggiero, City of Tampa Neighborhood Enhancement Operations Manager. Every week, got great guests coming on, so please tune in every Mondays at noon. Off air, you can get me at my website, tampabayradio.com. Again, tampabayradio.com, and via phone for all your real estate needs, 813-760-8516. Have a great rest of the week, everybody, and I'll see you back here next Monday at noon.
The opinions, viewpoints, and promises made during the preceding program are not those of WHNZ AM, its staff, management, or parent company, Clear Channel Communications.